On October 12, 2000, 11 months before the September 11th terrorist attacks, the USS Cole was refueling in Port Aden in Yemen when two al-Qaeda suicide bombers sent by Osama bin Laden drove up alongside the ship in a boat full of explosives. That day, 17 United States sailors were killed and 39 wounded. So what did we learn from that fateful day, and what do we still need to learn? Joining me now is the man who was the commander of the USS Cole that day in October and the author of the new book, Front Burner: Al-Qaeda's Attack on the USS Cole. Good morning to you, sir. Thanks for being here.
Good morning, Dave. Thanks for having me on the show.
How might history be different had we learned from the attack on the USS Cole, your ship?
I think it would have been different if we had had an intelligence community and a military and political structure that had taken a more aggressive approach. We had been willing to live with terrorist attacks that killed Americans overseas for literally decades, and yet we did nothing. When you look back, at, especially during the Clinton administration, when you attack buildings and embassies, those are things that house and represent U.S. interests. When you attack a warship, that's something that defends citizens and our economic interests around the globe. And when we were attacked, it was an act of war, yet we did nothing. And then when the Bush administration came in, we also just waited and didn't do anything again. And I think that that doctrine of waiting till we take the first hit instead of being preempted to protect ourselves is fundamental to how we now should fight the war.
Why did we not take it as seriously? You yourself, even the morning of September 11th, you were in the headquarters in Langley warning people about what this could mean about Osama bin Laden and al-Qaeda. Why weren't these warnings listened to?
I think we as a nation had kind of developed an attitude where we said, hey, if Americans die overseas at the hands of terrorists, it's a small price that we pay for being on the international stage. And I just think that we built up this insulation against those attacks because it really wasn't affecting people here at home. And unfortunately, it took September 11th to really wake up the American people. The attack on USS Cole has been somewhat in the shadow of that attack. So my opportunity to get Front Burner out there after 10, 11 years of sitting down at the keyboard, working on it and putting it out there, I think is really going to educate the American people on what my crew went through and what heroes they really are 11 months before 9/11.
Absolutely, but most of us, sir, take comfort in knowing, or at least believing, that the United States has learned from that attack on 9/11. What's the one lesson we still have yet to learn?
I think that familiarity is breeding contempt. We're 10 years, 11 years on now from the 9/11 attacks. We're getting comfortable. We want to, again, as you see, lower our guard with TSA, as the previous report had. Plus, we're looking at lowering a number of other things. We're not as engaged around the world as we need to be. We want to withdraw from Afghanistan unilaterally. We clearly withdrew from Iraq unilaterally. While that may sound good and satisfy a political base, that may not be in our best national security interests, and it's incumbent upon us. Ever since World War II, we have had an important role on the international stage, and I think we should continue to remain engaged with our allies.
Absolutely.
But first and foremost, we look out for our national interests.
You got it. All right, check out the book, Front Burner. It's an important story. Former Commander Kirk Lippold, thanks for your service. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Coming up, he's